שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים, תשים, תשים לעולם, כי אתה הוא מלך אדון בכל השלום, כי אתה הוא מלך אדון בכל השלום. שלום, שלום, שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים, תשים, תשים לעולם. וטוב בעיניך לברך את עמך ישראל בכל עת ובכל שעה לשלומך. שלום, שלום, שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים, תשים, תשים לעולם, תשים לעולם. שים שלום, שים שלום, טובה וברכה. שים שלום, שים שלום, טובה וברכה. שים שלום, שים שלום, טובה וברכה. שים sim shalom, tova uvracha. We each hold a gift, man and woman, boy and girl. There's as many pieces of this gift as people in the world. And if we put them all together, maybe we can find a way to build a peaceful world one day. Sim shalom, tova uvracha. 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 La 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 God, who numbered all the stars in heaven, to each you gave a purpose and a name. As you remember all that you've created, we ask you, show us how to do the same. Though it be beyond our understanding, and reasoning and truth not be revealed, we pray you guide us as we join together. Draw from your strength the courage to be healed. Ne'ir Adonai nishmat Adam. The human spirit is the lamp of God. Let us always remember all of the heroes who risked their lives, who heard the sound of the anguished cries, their righteous deeds and their acts of honor are memories that must survive. All of our loved ones who now are gone, all those with faith and those with none, when we recall and retell their stories, forever they will live on. Lie, 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 lie. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Oh, Shema, hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Oh, Shema, hallelujah, 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 take it back. The children of the Shoah are not to be forgotten. Their stories live within us from year to passing year. Though their memories are haunting and their journeys ever daunting, the children of the Shoah will always be right here. In our hearts, in our minds, in our deeds, in our words, in each little act of kindness, the love will be preserved. In our art, in our music, in our poetry and photos, to the children of the Shoah, your stories will be heard. The children of the Shoah lived through things that we can't fathom, escaping from their countries to unfamiliar lands. Some perished as young children, some grew to raise up families, holding on to heartaches while holding on to hands. But in our hearts, in our minds, in our deeds, in our words, in each little act of kindness. עיניים, שבת אחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים.
Okay, here's what we do on Sunday mornings when this happens. I start telling bad jokes, and you start laughing no matter what I say. So what happens is they think, oh, the energy should be in here where it should be. So I say things like, did you hear about the new restaurant on the moon? It's got good food, but no atmosphere. Roy, you could invite them in too, or at some point they'll realize they're missing it. Part of the trouble, and this I'm just going to talk now to the people watching online, Shabbat Shalom, welcome, is that we, and this should encourage you to come again, are serving food again in our weekly wine down. So there's wine and there's coffee and people are having drinks, and we've got family members that haven't seen each other in a while. And so there's a lot of energy out there, but we're going to bring it in here for Shabbos. We're going to welcome you all. I am, as always, Philip Rice, better known as Rabbi Flip. And we have with us for not forever anymore, Miss Lisa Silver, our cantorial soloist and musical director, which just makes emotion fly all over the room. But we're going to soak her in and listen to her music as much as we can in the next couple of weeks for sure, as we get excited for some transition. And tonight, yesterday being Yom HaShoah Ugevurah, the day of Holocaust remembrance of heroism, at least in Israel, we cannot help but think about that too, even though it's Shabbos. So we're celebrating a lot of things. Don't even get comfortable, Billers, because we're going to start you off first. We're celebrating the Sabbath, and we're celebrating a certain young lady named Macy, and tomorrow she is going to, if I may say it appropriately, rock the room here with all that she knows. So we're going to invite the Billers forward now. Daniel and Tara, I'll take Andrew and Jonah, Macy. And we're going to begin, as all Jewish people begin, by lighting Shabbat candles. If you have a book, you can join us on page 2. If you do not have a book, it kind of works with the screens anyway, and we will be guided along.
Asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav
So again, yesterday I mentioned was Yom HaShavua Gvura. In Israel, they actually say it's the day of the destruction and of the heroism, because they recognize everybody as heroes. People who were martyrs and died were heroes. People who escaped were heroes. People who fought back were heroes. People who were led to the camps and their deaths, they were all heroes. And so tonight, we recognize all of those heroes. And one of them, a woman named Hannah Senish, wrote this beautiful piece. And Miss Lisa's going to sing it with us.
Eli, שלא ייגמר לעולם, החול והים, רשרוש של המים, ברק השמיים, תפילת האדם, החול והים, רשרוש של המים, ברק השמיים, תפילת האדם. Oh God, my God, I pray that these things never end. The sand and the sea, the rush of the waters, the crash of the heavens, the prayer of the heart, the sand and the sea, the rush of the waters, the crash of the heavens, the prayer of the heart.
As we welcome the Sabbath, it is always appropriate to welcome the Sabbath angels, and we invite you to join us.
Shalom Alechem, Malachi Hasharet, Malachi Elyon, Melech Malachi Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Alechem, Malachi Hasharet, Malachi Elyon, Melech Malachi Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Alechem, Malachi Hasharet, Malachi Shalom, Malachi Elyon, Melech Malachi Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruchuni l'Shalom, Malachi Shalom, Malachi Elyon, Melech Malachi Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Alechem, Malachi Shalom, Malachi Shalom, Malachi Shalom, Malachi Elyon, Melech Malachi Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Seichem Shalom, Malachi Shalom, Malachi Elyon, Melech Malachi
Please rise. Yikara v'yikara shemei Rabbah. Amen. Bama divrach yurute, v'yamlich malhute, b'chayahon uv'yomechon, uv'chayerecho beit Yisrael. B'gala uv'izman kari, v'yimeru. Amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah mevorach, le'olam ul'almei almaya yitbarach. Yipra v'yishbach v'yipar v'yishaman v'yanaseh v'yitadar v'yitalei v'yitalo shemei kudusha b'richu le'la min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata damiran belma v'yimeru. Amen. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Baruch Hu et Adonai hamevorach. Baruch Adonai hamevorach, hamevorach leolam vaed. Hamevorach, hamevorach leolam vaed.
We invite you to take your seats. We continue with the words of Ahavat Olam. I'm pretty sure I have the wrong ones, but we'll try.
Ahavat olam beit Yisrael amcha ahavta Torah u'mitzvot u'kinu mishpatim otanu l'marata Al kein Adonai Eloheinu v'shofeinu u'yikumenu nasiach v'chuchecha v'nizmach b'divrei Toratecha u'v'mitzvotecha le'olam vaed. Yihen hayenu yorech yameinu uvahen nageh yomam v'layla. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kavod, Shem Kavod, Malchuto leolam vaed.
Tomorrow, Macy is going to chant from the Torah. She's pretty good at it. I get the sense she's pretty good at everything she does. In any case, right now she's going to chant other words from the Torah, and we're going to back her up. So if you want to follow along, we're on page 36, or I got us on the screens behind.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר נוחים מכתבך היום על לבך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם להיות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Makes you want to come back in the morning, doesn't it? Yeah, most of you guys are coming back anyway. We're not done with you for the entire evening. But right now we turn our attention to the story of the Jewish people. It's a story about creation. It's a story about revelation, which means that we believe God revealed to us the sacred purpose. And most of all, it's a story about hope. That's what Passover celebrates. And it's hard sometimes to sing of deliverance and of safety when we know that there were ancestors before us that did not find it, and that there are people right now that need it. And so here at Micah, it is our hope that when we sing Mika Mocha, it is not just a song of thanksgiving in our story, as it is, but it is also a prayer that one day all people will experience the freedom and redemption and love and safety that we do. We sing now. Let's just get a feel for this, because we like to be a welcoming community. If you are here from out of town to celebrate Macy Biller, will you just stand up for a minute or two here? Oh, look at that. Well, welcome y'all to Nashville, Tennessee. You're in for a party. Okay, you guys can be seated now. We got to feel. The rest of you regulars who are not here, to celebrate, but essentially going to celebrate Macy right now, come on over here, Macy. We like to get to this part in the service and think about all the happy things in our life and share them as a community. Don't be timid. They're here to celebrate you. Just stand here and look cute. Okay, good job. And we like to think about the happy things and share them as a community because it just makes us feel happier as Shabbat is being ushered in here in the community. So, is there something besides the amazing thing that'll happen on this pulpit tomorrow that someone is like happy about and that they're celebrating? Ooh, what do you got? Did you really? All right, the two, you got to come on. Come on up. Come on. They were over for Shabbat dinner recently, and they were like this. Oh, it's going to happen, I guess. At some point, there'll be a house. All right, big news. Stand right here. Don't worry, they're not stealing your thunder. It's just a different thing. Somebody else, an anniversary. But what do you got? Okay, did you pass? Doesn't matter, it's over. Come on. Hebrew's got to be easier. I'm just saying. Okay, come over here. Who else? Somebody. What do you got, Roy? Okay, so you want to come for her? No, we'll just put her here in spirit. Okay, she counts. What else you got? What do you got? Is it really? Come on up, Daniel Biller. Share in the spotlight. You'll be here tomorrow and you have to talk. So this part you don't have to talk. We got room. It's a big pulpit. What do you got? Okay, come on up here. We're putting the couple up here next to you. We'll call it a mini ufruf. It's a new thing I just invented. Anybody else? We got room for a blessing. 12? We'll take you. It's good practice just to stand on a pulpit. You broke your leg? You got his cast off. You can come too. It's all right. Try and get in the picture too, because you guys look cute in the frame, because people were watching us on, like, at least 20 people. Okay. What do you got?
My sister's graduating college.
Okay, take credit for it. Come up. You probably, come on. You don't want to come up? All right, she's coming up. Family celebrations. Anyone else? Okay. You can feel the ripple of the blessing if you need to. Max, Eliana, you want to just come for the fun of it? All right, go to report card. Come on. No, we need as much cuteness as we can. Okay. Eloheinu v'Elahei Avoteinu ve'Imotenu, we ask this great power in the universe who blessed any and all of our ancestors before us with happy occasions, with firsts, with ongoing successes, both our own and in the community. And we ask that God to continue to bless you with such blessings and to remind you to always share those blessings with other people, bringing greater happiness into all of the lives that surround you. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, shechechianu v'kiyamanu v'higyanu lazman hazeh. Everybody says, amen. We thank that power in the universe that created us and that helps us along the way and enables us to reach special times. Okay, you did good. You can go back and sit. That was a really good job. So, we also know that sometimes there are scary things. And represented in our story, after we crossed that sea, the Jewish people spent a lot of time camping in the universe, was out there, and we were scared of it. And so we asked for divine protection, and it often was provided for us. So we sing for that now.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom V'hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom V'hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim Ufros aleinu Sukkot shlomecha V'hoshienu l'man shemecha. Help us to know that you're near, that your presence is here. Let us lie down in peace every night. And when we rise in the day, keep us sheltered, we pray. Guide us, God, with your love and your light. Baruch atah Adonai, haponei sukkot shalom, aleinu ve'al kol amo Israel. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom v'hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom v'hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim.
What some people do not know here is that Miss Lisa Silver has maybe a little more than a half dozen services left in which she will sit at that perch. But I was thinking that tomorrow Macy's going to chant from the Torah, and like the chanting she will do, we know goes back to like the 8th century or something of the Common Era. That's pretty old. That one of the ways that has survived is through music. And so I have no doubt that Miss Lisa Silver's original compositions will continue to reverberate in this sacred space for a long time, and she's going to lead us in one of them now.
V'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat lahasot et ha-Shabbat l'dorotam b'ridolam. A day of restoration, a cleansing of the soul, for all the broken pieces once again to be made whole, to celebrate the wonder of creation and the gift of time. B'nai Uvein, B'nai Israel, Ori le'olam, ki sheshit yamin asa Adonai et ha-shamayim ve'et ha'aretz, uvayom hashvi'i shavat vayinafash. A day of restoration, a cleansing of the soul, for all the broken pieces once again to be made whole, to celebrate the wonder of creation and the gift of time. A day to appreciate the sacred in our world.
Please rise. Adonai Sifatai Tifta
Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el HaGadol, HaGibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'Konei HaKol, V'Zocher Chastei Avot v'Imahot, Umevi Geula Livnei V'nehem, L'ma'an Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer Umoshia Umagin, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, Ve'ezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai, Michayei HaKol atah Rav le'Hoshia, Michalkel Chaim be'chesed, Michayei HaKol be'rachamim rabim, Somech noflim ve'rofeh cholim, Umatir asurim, Umekayem emunato, Lishenei afar, Nichamocha ba'al gevurot, Umido melach, Melech memit umechayeh, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'eman atah lahachayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai Michayeh HaKol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh u'kadoshim b'chol yom yahalelucha selah. Baruch atah Adonai Ha'el HaKadosh.
We always leave a little time for our Avodah Shebalev, what is called the prayer of your own hearts. And when you're done, you may be seated. And when most of us are seated, Miss Lisa will sing with us again.
Shalom, shalom, shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha. Tasim, tasim, tasim la'olam. Ki atahu melech adon, l'chol ha'shalom. Ki atahu melech adon, l'chol ha'shalom. Shalom, shalom, shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha. Tasim, tasim, tasim la'olam. V'tov b'necha levarech et Amcha Yisrael. V'chol ed uv'chol shah b'shlomecha. Shalom, shalom, shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha. Tasim, tasim, tasim la'olam. Kansim la'olam.
So here, in the context of our central prayer, we always think about those people in this community, people really all over the world that are in need of a blessing for healing. And the names I have in front of me include Jay Cohen and the Sloan family, and I'll add all of the Cohen family, and B.B. Weinstein. If there are other names, people you know of, it's always our custom to say them aloud as my hand passes across the room. We send this prayer out to all four corners of the earth where people are in need of it.
For the hurt of body and of soul, for the suffering and pain, as you heal the ones who came before, may you heal us just the same. Refuat hanefesh v'haguf el narifana. Refainu Adonai refuah shaleima. Refuat hanefesh v'haguf el narifana. Refinu Adonai, Refuah Shalema, for the hurt of body and of soul, for the suffering and pain, as you healed the ones who came before, may you heal us just the same. As you healed the ones who came before, may you heal us just the same.
Shabbat Shalom. Sometimes scholars will actually leave the ivory tower and they'll share with their pupils issues that they have struggled with. They reveal sort of their own insights based on personal experiences, often ones that involve growth and pain. And through such dialogue, they share these inner struggles, which really can help illuminate sort of their views to their students, because we're all students. And so the dialogue that I want to share with you really causes the student in each of us to Yisrael, to wrestle, really, with pain in order to sort of grow. And the exchange by Holocaust lore actually occurred at the First International Scholars Conference and the German church struggle, and it was held in 1970. And one of these men that I'm going to share with you spoke of sort of the outer world of the Holocaust, like power and mastery and politics and technology. And the other spoke of the inner world of the concentration camps, of defiance and spiritual resistance, of divinity and humanity, of despair and resilience. One spoke about truth, one of silence. And both would be themes that they would write books about, many books. One man spoke about a God who abandoned the Jewish people, and therefore, consequently, should be abandoned by that people. If Jews were going to live with integrity, transmit a truthful legacy to the next generation. And the other writer, he couldn't abandon or affirm God. But the exchange between the two, it's become part of this lore of like Holocaust scholarship. And I'm going to share with you today so that you can wrestle also with these men and against them and with what they're struggling with as well. So, in this first person is named Dr. Richard Rubenstein. In the summer of 1960, he says, I visited Europe for the first time. I wanted to visit my wife's native land. She was the same age that Anne Frank would have been had she survived. I remember my first contact with a German. I didn't know whether to be courteous or to react in rage. At the time, I could only see Germans as cold-blooded mass murderers of my people. Could I permit my children to play with German children? This question had great existential import for me, and I was unable to solve it satisfactorily. My 11-year-old son, Aaron, came with me to Germany to see the country that had caused our family and our people so much horror. And when I first crossed the border, I had the distinct feeling that I was entering enemy territory. My son began to ask me questions about Auschwitz. They were not the kind of questions I had expected. I thought my son would ask me about the Germans. Most of his questions were about the United States. "Daddy," he said, "didn't the Americans know there was an Auschwitz?" "Well, yes, they did." "Well, couldn't they have done something about it?" "I'm not sure." My son perceived that more was involved in the Holocaust than the Nazis and their victims. And a shadow of alienation entered that 11-year-old boy, which has never left him. One of the most important effects of taking my son to Germany was that both of us had to face the question of what kind of human community might be possible for him. Not only Germans, but also with fellow Americans. I didn't want him to hate Germans. I didn't want also of his image as a Jew to be controlled by that of a helpless victim going up in smoke. When Jews were oppressed in the past, they were given 3 options: be baptized and become a Christian, leave the country, or remain and be killed. Option 3 was not without dignity. Imagine a Jew saying to himself, "I can neither leave this place, which I love, nor become a Christian." By their decision, such a person elected martyrdom, and his death was freely chosen. It served as a witness to both his love of place and his Jewish faith. This is in stark contrast to what took place in the Nazi death camps. One of Hitler's greatest victories was that he deprived the Jews of all opportunity to be martyrs. There could be no martyrdom without free choice. In the camps, it didn't make a difference whether you were Dr. Edith Stein, who would become a Carmelite nun, or a Hasidic rabbi. All Jews were slaughtered without distinction. And even baptism provided no escape. It must be sadly noted that the pathetic attempts of the Jewish community to see the 6 million as martyrs is a tragic, albeit understandable, misperception. Okay. This other guy you know a little better, Elie Wiesel. He was so distraught by Dr. Rabbi Richard Rubenstein's words that he sort of dramatically, they say, tore up his speech, and then he just spoke off the cuff, and this is what he said. "A man was asked, if your house was on fire, what would you take away? And the man said, the fire, naturally. I think what we took away from our tales and from our burning houses in European history was the fire. During the war, all the Jews who were trapped inside, they had no idea that the outside world was aware of what was happening. And I just listened to Dr. Rubenstein today, and I share his anger and his despair. You must know that it was fortunate that the Jews in the camps did not realize what was happening in the world. Had the Jews in the camps known that Roosevelt and Churchill and de Gaulle and the Pope and everybody knew and no one cared, I think they would have committed suicide. I think they would have chosen not to survive. Now, you say, Dr. Rubenstein, that Hitler deprived the Jew of martyrdom, but that's not true. Many Jews, especially the rabbis, could have saved their lives. In my small town, the rabbis all could have saved their lives. And do you know who wanted to save them? The priests. The priests came to our rabbis. We had some 30 of them in our center, offering them refuge in the monastery, in the church. But of course, what rabbi would choose it? I think maybe there were 2 or 3 out of 50,000 rabbis in Europe who chose to escape individually. All the others preferred voluntarily, knowingly, to go with their fellow Jews. How did these rabbis maintain their Jewishness and their humanity? It's a wonder. After all, the system was so strong and the whole world was an accomplice. Now, there's a story in the Talmud. It's a beautiful one, and it's relevant because you spoke of martyrs, and we speak of martyrs. And the story states that when Rabbi Ishmael, one of the 10 martyrs of the Jewish faith in Roman times, was led to his death, a bat kol, a heavenly voice, was heard saying, Rabbi Ishmael, should you shed one tear, I will return the universe to its primary chaos. And the Midrash says that Rabbi Ishmael was a gentleman and he did not cry. And I couldn't understand for so long why he didn't cry. Why didn't he cry? I mean, the hell with it. If this is the price to pay, who needs it? Who wants this kind of world? Who wants to live in it? There are a lot of reasons why he didn't cry. 1, he was a martyr. 2, he obeyed. And 3, the last and most poetic reason why he didn't cry is because he wanted to teach us a lesson about Judaism. Rabbi Ishmael, contrary to his classical opponent Rabbi Akiva, was a rationalist. Even while dying, he wanted to teach us a lesson. Yes, I could destroy the whole world, and the world deserves to be destroyed. But to be a Jew is to have all the reasons in the world to destroy and then not destroy. To be a Jew is to have all the reasons in the world to hate Germans, but then not hate them. To be a Jew is to have all the reasons in the world not to have faith in language, in singing, in prayers, in God, but to go on telling the tale, to go on carrying the dialogue on, and to have our own silent prayers and quarrels with God. That is the lesson that Rabbi Ishmael, when he died, taught me. But then, he was Rabbi Ishmael, and I'm only one of the tellers of his tales. Perhaps that is more the meaning of Jewish existence, especially for a storyteller, to tell tales lived so many times by so many Jews, and I am only one of them. The lore continues that after finishing this response, Rubinstein stood up and said, even as a rabbi, I want to offer you my blessing. So I share these words with you tonight as we continue to wrestle with and to live on in the shadow of some of the darkest things that have happened on our planet, even as we know that dark things continue to happen. Many of you are aware, and if not, as you leave, it will still be light enough, that there is a brand new sculpture that sits on our campus that was inspired by Francis Hahn and George Hahn and their journeys escaping Nazi Germany. And so I invite you to look at that. And of course, we wouldn't be Micah if we didn't commission a song about it. So Lisa, that'll live on too.
The children of the Shoah are not to be forgotten. Their stories live within us from year to passing year. Though their memories are haunting and their journeys ever daunting, the children of the Shoah will always be right here. In our hearts, in our minds, in our deeds, in our words, in each little act of kindness, the love will be preserved. In our art, in our music, in our poetry and photos, to the children of the Shoah, your stories will be heard. The children of the Shoah lived through things that we can't fathom, escaping from their countries to unfamiliar lands. Some perished as young children, some grew to raise up families, holding on to heartaches while holding on to hands. But in our hearts, in our minds, in our deeds, in our words, in each little act of kindness, the love will be preserved. In our art, in our music, in our poetry and photos, to the children of the Shoah, your stories will be heard. To the children of the Shoah, your stories will be heard.
Our concluding prayers begin with the words of Aleinu. Aleinu means it's incumbent upon us. I say that as I invite you, if you are willing and able, to please rise. And my Averys are my people to come open my ark doors. But if anyone wants to come close to the Torah, we always invite anyone who wants to come open ark doors, come close. Pam's coming. Anybody else? Okay.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
It is always here at the end of our service that we think about those people who still touch our hearts through their spirits. We recall on the anniversaries of their deaths: Annette Lippman, Benjamin Fair, Charles Krasov, Charlotte C. Hiller, Donald J. Wittenberg, Edith Shore, Ellen Adair Schechner, Ethel Schulman, Helen H. Hauser, Jack Chirac, Jake Levine, Janice Footsie Lefkowitz, Wiener, Joseph Golem, Leonard D. Giovanni, Les Spire, Lottie Burin, Martin Handelman, Max Mendel Baumgarten, Melvin Steinberg, Meyer E. Burkhan, Bill Wisner, Pauline Baum, Robert Friedman. We continue to mourn as a community for the passings of Marvin Oakes, Dorothy Braderman, and Jerry Sly. Are there any names I've neglected to mention? We mention as well all those who perished in the Holocaust, as well as all of those who have been a blessing to humanity who have lost their lives too soon. We join together in Kaddish Yatom, the mourner's Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divra kirute v'yamlich malchute, v'chayachon uv'yomachon uv'chaye dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uv'izman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'alam u'lalmei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei kudesha richu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlomo Rabbah min shemaya v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. We say zikrona livracha, that their memories will always live on as a blessing. I invite you to sit briefly. It would not be a service without announcements. I've got some good ones. Tomorrow morning on Zoom, as always, I lead a very compassionate group that's always looking for people to join us. We're a nice crowd who starts with texts and shares life experience, and the link can easily be found on our website. Ha ha ha, most of you are here for this, I believe. It's amazing what you can pull from Facebook. 10:30 a.m. right here, live or online. We will welcome Macy Biller to the Bima as she becomes Bat Mitzvah, and it's going to be amazing. On Sunday at 3 p.m. in the social hall, our spring festival is back. If you like being around the energy of little kids, if you want to support our preschool, we're having a little art fundraiser, and there'll be music, and it'll be joyous, and we would love to have you there. Monday night, our virtual book club, which is thinking of meeting in person, will gather together to read Nathan Elander's book, What We Talk About When We Talk About Anne Frank. Okay, Mahjong continues weekly on Tuesdays. This week, is the big payback. That's right. If you love us, you'll think of us. You'll send in those donations. We can win contests. It's all part of a larger nonprofit raising money organizational thing we partake in. So help us out. Schmooze and Views. We continue to talk politics. It's always pretty spicy. Thursdays, 10:30 in the library. And check out this cuteness. If you like being around cuteness like this, then you should join us for the Torah Wrap. The Torah Wrap happens both in this room and all over our campus outside if the weather is nice. Everybody is welcome. And we do a little service, and we honor our teachers, and there's food, and we wrap up the year. So think about joining us. Lastly, I will mention all of our stuff can be found in a variety of different locations, including Twitter now. So check us out. I think it's time for a Kiddush. I'm going to invite everyone to rise one final time. I'm going to make Macy come back up. You know, one of the theologians I also like around Holocaust study is a guy named Roger Gottlieb, and he says we do no real honor to the 6 million who perished if we do not delight in the singing of songs and young children at play and in celebrating a Jewish life. And tomorrow, Macy's going to do just as well as she did tonight, and I'm excited and honored to be a part of it. Let's do a Kiddush.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pari hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho b'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron l'maaseh v'reishit כי הוא יום תחילה למקראי קודש, זכר ליציאת מצרים. כי בנו בחרת, ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים, ושבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מחדש השבת.
L'chaim, l'chaim, Shabbat Shalom.
עושה שלום